And I'll let you know when we're live.
I have a colleague who will be joining us.
Okay. It looks like we're live, Graham, so I'll hand it over to you.
Oh, excellent. Okay. We appear to have quorum for today's meeting, I'd like to call the meeting of the Heritage Permit Review Subcommittee to order. And we'll start with the approval of the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? You see Andy and Sandra. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, I guess that carries. Is there any declarations of interest for today? Okay, that's excellent. We can continue on. Now for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes as presented? I see Matthew and Andy. Now everyone had a chance to read through them. Did you see any errors and omissions? I didn't. Okay, so is there anyone opposed to adopting them? Seeing none, now we got right into the meat and the potatoes of the meeting. So this will be Heritage Permit HP 2026-002, 211 Mill Street North in Flamborough, the Mill Street Heritage Conservation. This is for the construction of a new walkway and ramp for the Mill Street North to the existing doors of principal facade, including poured architectural concrete construction to match the existing foundation and color, and landscape grading to accommodate the new ramp, and removal of one dead tree in the rear alley. It's a city-owned tree. So is the applicant present?
Yes, Richard Butterworth here.
Okay, if you'd like to spend a couple of minutes describing what you like to get done, and if anyone has any questions after, they can bring them up with you.
So this all came about because the board is trying to meet the AODA accessibility requirements. And so we needed to design a ramp to get to the main entry doors of the school, which in this case are off an addition that was added onto the school in the 50s. I didn't want to impact the original facade of the school, which was the early 1900 facade of the school. So the reason I put the ramp where it is because it would have less impact, to the heritage of the original school. And what I tried to do is try to design it to kind of meet that mid-century sort of modern design of that addition. So that's why we went with a poured concrete ramp to sort of tie into the foundations of the school that are exposed at that point. And then the other thing we needed to do was we needed to create a slope path from the city sidewalk up to that location. So it's a very gradually sloped sidewalk, having minimally impacted the sort of landscaping. So we're not impacting any of the existing heritage trees, the older trees that are on the property. And we're just, minimally impacting the sort of landscape that's there. So that's basically the reason why we're trying to do this. And hopefully, the committee will agree with our approach. So do you have any questions for me at this point, or because I've submitted renderings and sort of a plan on how we're gonna do this.
Well, I'm sure someone's gonna have some questions. I know I appreciate the fact that you're not going into that original door. That's definitely a bonus. I see Carol Priamo has some questions. Ask Carol.
Yeah, I just would like to ask if there's a reason why the raised ramp, actually sort of on the side of, or yeah, on the facade of the school that goes into the, one of the main doors. Is there a reason for it being a solid concrete sort of wall as opposed to say, excuse me, the, you know, the railings that are on,
So,
the other walkway?
so are you talking about and you can see in the photograph, those sort of metal, painted, black railings?
Yes.
Is that what you, yeah.
Something like that, that, you know, you can see, sort of see through rather than, I
yeah,
just wondered if you had to have a solid concrete.
Well,
crossing.
the reason we're doing that is because we found that these railings in the past, first of all, they're unsafe. Okay, because you've got small children. It's better to have an enclosed ramp, and I've been doing these AODA ramps for decades. I mean, I've been, you know, I was one of the first proponents of this before it even came into legislation, and it's just somebody traversing a ramp in a wheelchair, they feel much safer if it's an enclosed, you know, the walls are enclosed on either side. It just it's kind of a mental thing, right? For them. But the other reason is that really the part of the building, if you look at the if you look at any of the photographs of that facade, it's really an unattractive facade. It's got sort of metal siding on it, and it's been sort of uh, you know, tampered with over the years. And that really, if you take away all that bad vegetation that's there, it's all, most of it's dead anyways, where we're putting the ramp. All it will show is it's just an exposed concrete wall of the foundation. So that's why we decided to go this route, is to, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to color the concrete. I'm gonna try to have it as an architectural concrete, so it sort of blends into the architecture that's there from the 50s, so that you know, it would basically look like it's always been there, you know, from day one, that way. So that's what they did back in those days. They those metal railings and things you see there, they're not original to the building. They were probably added on in the 80s or 90s.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Sandra, you have a question to ask?
Yes, thank you. Richard, in your rendering, I'm trying to see here, the last page.
Okay.
Rendering 3 of, I don't know what. So the last page, rendering 3.
Oh, is it an overhead view of everything? I can't, I'm having to access this from my phone.
It's the perspective from the bottom of the ramp, Richard.
Okay.
So that one is
Thank you, Alyssa.
A02. It's
Okay.
on A02.
What
Yeah.
brought up on the screen there, yeah. So
Yeah, so you see the vegetation and behind.
so
I'm not
that's,
sure.
yeah, that vegetation is just like for rendering purposes. It might not be actually what's there. So I did submit an actual survey plan to Lisa. So it was a recent survey that we had done, like a topographic survey with all the existing trees and everything marked. So I you know, on there, and you can see that I'm not really impacting any of those things that are there.
I don't think that's the point I was trying to make,
Sorry,
Richard.
okay, sorry.
The point I was trying to make and about is this sort of relationship between the the ramp and the vegetation that's there, whether or not it's accurate is not really my question. It's just the softening of the element.
Okay.
You know, I do feel like the ramp as an element is a little bit hard and maybe a bit out of scale in comparison to the building and the proportions of the elements of the building. And I just wondered if there had been any sort of discussion about incorporating some vegetation along with this ramp just to kind of conceal it a little bit and to sort of, you know, break it up a little bit in terms of the elements. So rather how you see how you have vegetation on the right side, was there any thought into incorporating any vegetation on the left side of the ramp to kind of, you know, soften it up a little bit?
Well, I see your point, but I guess the issue is that this ramp is going up against an existing hardscape sidewalk that's already there in place. And there's a fenced in playground adjacent to it. So there really, I don't think there's any really area that we could add any, landscaping in to sort of block this, right? Like the playground itself, the fencing and everything will most likely block the view from the street. Like this, if you're standing on the street, the sidewalk, on the street, most of the existing elements that are there will most likely obscure the view of this. So to me, it doesn't like it. I know you say it is a pretty bold sort of ramp, all being poured concrete. But if we did it with railings and a poured concrete, we'd still have half the ramp, the foundations of the ramp exposed in poured concrete. So really, just to add that other 3 feet of concrete to the top of the ramp to enclose it, I don't see that really, makes any difference on what the ramp looks like. And to me, it would be difficult to try to obscure that. But I can take your point into consideration, because obviously we have to, make sure that you guys are happy about this. But maybe you can, maybe would you be able to look at the plan and maybe make some suggestions on where we could put this landscaping to try to soften it? Like, would it have to be in the playground area? And that could be an issue for the small kids.
Point.
Yeah.
And you said that you're looking into a treatment for the exterior face of that ramp, Richard?
Yeah, I did one at McMaster University years ago, connected to one of the buildings there. And what we did was, so what I do is I use architectural concrete. So I add a dye into the concrete so it softens the color of the concrete, so it's not that harsh sort of white, concrete. And then what we do is we sandblast the concrete afterwards to give it some, to soften the appearance of the concrete. So that's kind of that's when I'm going to write into the specifications for this. And you could probably note that in your comments back, that this is what the architect intends to do, is to try to soften the appearance of the concrete. I'm trying to blend it into the weathered. So obviously the concrete that's on the building now that's exposed has been weathered over time, since the 1950s. So it's not as harsh as it was when it was first, put in place. So that's what I'm trying to match. I'm trying to sort of blend it into the steps that are there now, the concrete steps that are there now going up, and the concrete foundation that's around that portion of the building. I'm trying to sort of blend it in to that kind of look.
Okay, thank you. I wondered if you had thought about splitting the sort of the face of that wall horizontally one way or another.
Yes,
For
what I'm
example,
doing, yeah,
that's what you.
Yeah, what I'm doing there is I'm adding reglets in, so they're architectural sort of reveals that will be added into the concrete to sort of break it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, to soften so it's not just one big harsh sort of wall that's poured across. And then what I'm also doing is beveling the edges of all the hard edges of the ramp. I'm doing a beveled edge there. So instead of just a hard 90-degree edge, I'm trying to do that to tie everything in. And my only concern is that, if we went with stainless steel railings on the top, that would be too harsh as well. Like that would look too, institutional. Like I'm just trying to, if I could do the whole ramp in brick, you know, and I knew that it would hold up over our winters, and I would do it in brick, to match the building. But it just, brick doesn't hold up on exterior walls, like, but the concrete will. So but I do intend to soften it with the color, the finish, and use reglets in the wall to break up, the appearance of it. So I intend to do all of that. It's just very hard to I had to come up with this rendering very quickly. It's kind of at the last minute, so it's kind of very hard to render it like exactly how it's going to be, but those are my intentions, and that's what'll be done. I'll make sure that gets done. If the board, so the issue right now is I wanted to go through this process first. Like I wanted to go step by step here. So I want to, some architects might just jump into this and then, try to apply for permit and then realize they have to go through heritage. But I thought, let's go baby steps. Let's do this first. Go this, go to the heritage committee, hopefully get their blessing, and then we can move forward. And then we're doing it properly. We're not sort of kind of putting the cart before the horse like a lot of these other um, applications do. Um, that's my approach anyway. So if we do get the blessing, then yes, then we just move forward with the building permit. But I would write in your notes back, if you do approve this, that the architect has agreed to soften the impact of the concrete by, these methods that I've described.
One last thought, Richard, and
Sure,
again,
go
you can take it, consider it. What is the treatment of the cladding beyond above those windows?
Oh, that's something that's kind of that was previously done, right? Like that's
Right. What is the material?
it's like just metal siding. They put metal siding, like, obviously, the board, it's like what they did on the heritage part of the school. They put in those crappy old windows. They took out the heritage windows, and they put in those crappy sliding windows, and then it's like metal siding above it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so I've even mentioned this to the board. I said, look, when the next window replacement comes up for the school, and it might come up in the next, uh, 2 or 3 years, they're going to have to replace the windows. And I said, like, you've got to look at the heritage of the main two facades, the front and the back of the school, and you've got to try to restore that look. You've got to try to open it up and let more natural light in, and try to, go back, because they have historical photographs of the school, from, and they can use those as a guide. That might not be my project, but I have made that suggestion to them. So that's, you know I'm all for heritage. Trust me. I've been in business since 1985, and I respect that totally. And I used to work at the city of Hamilton when I first graduated. I was in the architects department all those years ago. So I totally respect the heritage aspect of all buildings. And it's unfortunate that Hamilton I mean, it's fortunate in a way we still have a lot of heritage buildings left, but it's sad in a way that we tore down a lot of beautiful buildings in the 60s and 70s, you know, because I can remember those as a boy, you know, and what the downtown used to look like, and then what it looks like now. But anyways, that's a side, that's on the side, but um I don't know if we can really do anything about that cladding that's there now. Like, hopefully the ramp hides most of that stuff.
Okay, so Andy has a question.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay,
Andy.
great. Hi, Richard. Just a couple of questions. One for clarity, you indicated that you're taking down a large tree which is dead. Is that near the street, like on street property?
No, it was noted on the survey plan that the surveyors noted a dead tree there. I think it's a city tree, and it's not one of those beautiful old trees. I thought it was just something planted a few years ago and just never survived. You know,
Sorry,
Okay.
I
through the
mean,
chair, can I jump in
yeah,
for a second?
yeah, go ahead. Sure.
Sorry, Graham, I prepared the notes for Graham and I accidentally left something in there. So there's actually no tree removals suggested for this. It's
Yeah.
just that we're asking for a tree protection plan to keep the tree that's there. Sorry, so the scope of work that's within the agenda is the correct one. I think Graham mentioned it in his spiel, but yeah, that was my mistake. I apologize.
That's okay,
The
Lisa, no
tree
worries.
that is being retained, I can share my screen and just indicate. So we're asking for a potential tree protection plan just for this tree here,
Yeah, that's
because
yeah.
the sidewalk will go right beside it.
Yeah, we'll definitely do whatever you require there. Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. So through the chair, this is sort of on a side note, but there was a permit that went through for some tree removal on this property. I believe it was 3, if not 4 trees, but it was done without a permit, so the work had stopped. The trees have been half cut down, and they're all just stubs, but the trees are still there. So there was kind of a stop work project until the permit went through. So that was approved to remove the trees because they are dead. I was just curious if this tree that you were talking about was going to include the other ones which still stand but are all butchered and just have stubs everywhere and it's still rotted. But I'm sort of on a side note. That's why I was asking regarding the tree. You probably don't know anything about that, but we can follow up on that later. Regarding the ramp, I sort of agree with Carol and Sandra regarding the massing of it. From the street, if you look at it, it's actually even blocking the windows. So even on the interior, if you're looking out these windows, you'd be looking in 6 feet, you'd be looking at a concrete wall rather than something that might be a little clear, whether it could be like, I know you said that people get nervous going up and down ramps without it being enclosed. I personally, there's one actually on Mill Street now, which is just being redone on a ramp, which has wrought iron or cast iron railing going up, and it looks quite beautiful because it's not affecting the stonework that it would be covering up if it was a solid piece. Similar to this from the street, like half the door is covered, plus a number of those windows, and it's just the massing of the building. Like it looks like it almost comes up, 2/3 up the way the size of the lower portion of that roof line, which is going to be solid concrete. So I kind of agree with the massing of it. It would. I know you're still going to see wherever the ramp is, the 45-degree angle. That's got to be concrete. But the rest of it, if it could be somehow like have either glass or wrought iron or even a black similar to match the fencing that's around the playground. To me, it would soften the massing of the concrete. That's all. So
I guess the other issue too is that the Problem is when we start doing metal railings like that, especially on schools, they use a lot of salt in the wintertime. So eventually what happens is these things rust out after, 3, 4 years. It's very difficult to maintain those types of railings, especially so the other thing too is you've got to look at the length of this ramp. It's like 40 feet long. So if it was a smaller ramp up to a building, I would then agree with you that, we could do it with railings and things like that, because I've done that before with, smaller runs. But this is we're talking a ramp that's like 40 feet long. And to do that all in railings, it would just be, I don't know, I don't think it would be the right way to go as an architect.
Okay, through the chair, so mainly for the maintenance portion of it?
I think
Because salt will do damage on pretty well anything, like even concrete, it'll start to eat away at concrete if you put enough of it down.
it does yeah, but it takes a lot longer to eat away at the concrete than it does the metal. That even stainless steel can be affected by the salt. Galvanized metal railings like they use on some of these buildings. Because if it's a wrought iron, first of all, wrought iron, it would have to be done so it met the code properly for the railing itself and for the handrails and everything. And then it's a painted finish, right? And that's not going to hold up. Like it's just it will be a constant maintenance problem. But I think the main reason to do that was to kind of, try to blend it in with the foundation. But I I so I can see your point about looking from the outside, but or the inside out, but only 3 feet of this ramp. So the windows, when you're looking out, they're on the upper section. So it's misleading to see that rendering. Like you would actually be able to look out beyond past the top of the ramp to the outside. It still will let natural light in and views out. Yes, so we can plant some vegetation between the ramp and the school. So when they do look out, the vegetation will block the harshness of the concrete wall when they're looking out.
Right through the chair, so that wouldn't do anything to the view from the street, though. That's only basically softening it from looking outside, from inside out, on that portion that's from the school to the ramp, correct, Richard?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, like I understand that like salt does attack everything, but there's quite a few buildings that do have very nice, powder coated, whether it be stainless or aluminum rails that look quite nice that would take the massing away. It really does affect the school as it's coming up so high. It's that's the issue, and it has to. I understand by Ontario code, it'll have to be a certain height for a railing, but being solid concrete. And I appreciate the fact that you want to match the foundation, but you don't even remotely see the foundation because it's coming like 3/4 of the way up the wall, at least on the lower portion of the roof line.
Well, if we took all the dead vegetation that's out of there now in that flower bed that they put there, you'd see the entire foundation wall exposed up to the height of the floor level. That's the way it is now. So we're not really, because they didn't bring the brick. It was weird that when they built that school, sometimes what they did in the past, they brought the brick down to cover the foundation, to just maybe a foot above the grade, but they didn't do it on that school. It's all exposed concrete there. But I can take that into consideration, but you know, uh, to do this thing in all glass, or as what you say, powder coated steel or whatever, I don't know, that might just nix the whole thing there, you know. I know you don't really care about the cost, like you're looking at the, you know, the heritage part of it, right? But anyways, it's up to you as the subcommittee to determine what you're comfortable with, but that's what that's what I'm proposing to go with now, and I'll do my best to soften the look of the concrete, you know. That's what they've decided they want to go with, so.
Okay. Okay, I still have an issue with the mass of the concrete, but I'll leave it there for right now. I'll let the rest of the committee review. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate that, thanks.
Is Alyssa wants to hop in with something?
Yeah, thanks, Graham. Alyssa Golden, Cultural Heritage Program Lead. Just wanted to chime in some great points and questions being raised by the members about massing and materials. If there's other questions, I see Sandra has her hand back up. We can loop around to those, but just wanted to indicate that it would be the purview of the subcommittee if you want to move any specific language, how strongly the subcommittee feels about that, whether you're comfortable just making a recommendation that that be investigated, or whether you feel more strongly in terms of a potential condition of approval. So just wanted to highlight that and try to come back around, and then I'll let you pass it over to Sandra.
Thanks. Well, I actually got a comment with me myself, and I'll let Sandra come back in. When we were talking about the colorization and you couldn't get the brick on there because you wouldn't know how long it would last. There is ways today to press the sides of the soft concrete to get shapes in and color it as though it is brick, correct?
Yeah, we could look at doing that. There are, as you say, there are like rubber forms that they can use. They do it on retaining walls. You know, you see it on a lot of the concrete retaining walls that they do adjacent to sidewalks and things. So I could explore that, which might,
Because that would take
Yeah.
your eye away from the fact that the massing is so large from the street.
yeah. So we could consider doing that, and that would be mainly just on the one side, the view.
Yes, one facing the street.
Yeah, facing the street, the interior wouldn't matter. So yeah, I could explore that, and I could also explore, the railing option, but I think that would just put it right out of their budget, and the whole thing could die just on the cost. As an architect, I have to take into consideration other factors too. I have to take into consideration budgets and costs, costs of the taxpayers, right? And so that's why I've gone the not primarily, but that's sort of one of the reasons why we went that route. And to say, so the ramp I did at McMaster University was done in 1999, and it's been there ever since. And the salt has not really eroded the concrete to any great degree there, in all these years. So it does, eventually it will erode anything, but they with solid walls, they'll tend to shovel it better, because when you have to try to shovel snow around railings and stuff, that's when the shovel starts hitting the base posts of the railings and chips the paint off, or affects the finish, and then it just, the corrosion just takes over. I've seen these ramps with railings. I've seen them like within a few years, they're totally started to corrode. But anyways, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, Green. So we can definitely explore that using the rubber forms to imprint some kind of pattern on the concrete to reduce the impact of it.
Yeah, I think that would just visually help from the street. Because that's what we're trying to mitigate, because that is a large mass, like Andy's pointed out.
And
Anyone
again,
else see
I could color it to even like a brick color, like to add more into the facade. Yeah. Yeah.
Then will kind of almost disappear from the view, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. And I think with all the big trees that are at the front, And with all the fencing, all the chain link fencing that's there, if you actually go to the street and look, that all of that material kind of obscures that view anyways from the street. You know, it does. I agree at the entrance doors, it'll have
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, because unfortunately we have to take half of those stairs away to get the ramp to work in there, right? You know, that's the only way to do it. But yeah, well, I'll definitely you can make that in your notes. I'll take that definitely seriously under consideration. Yeah,
Okay, we'll get Melissa to add that to the conditions.
yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
So,
Thank
Sandra,
you. Yeah, that was good input there.
thank you. Okay, Sandra, you have last question?
Yeah, just last couple of comments. The first one is, had you looked into making the first, let's say, 18 inches, 24 inches out of glass and the bottom out of concrete? That's
Well,
that could
you
be.
have to have 42 inches height on a railing. That's the code.
Oh, I understand that. I'm
Yeah.
an architect as well.
Yeah.
But my comment was, had you looked at splitting the mass, right? Everyone's talking about the mass.
Sure. So doing like
Splitting the
half
mass, yeah, in half or something, where half of it, the bottom of it is concrete and the top of it reaches your 42 inches, and
No,
that's
we
glass.
never really looked at doing that. No, it was just a straight, concrete.
Right, because that could be a way to break up the volume that everyone's kind of uneasy about.
So
Uh,
I know glass is used, like, I see it on libraries and public buildings and things like that, but we don't really use a lot of glass railing systems on schools. Primarily because of, there, I mean, I don't know about this school in particular, but other schools are prone to vandalism.
right.
And, the glass railings, unless we'd have to, even if you do them out of tempered glass or laminated glass, they can still, somebody throws a brick at it or a rock at it, and it's going to break.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So they they have enough problems with just windows being broken, and that's why they put those, you see a lot of schools, they put those mesh screens over windows, because of that happening. So I would be reluctant at using glass railings here. I could look at possibly doing stainless half and half, but again, like it just doesn't make sense to me, like for a ramp like this and where it's located. Um, it's so far away from the street too. It's so far set back. If the school, like a lot of schools, a lot of heritage schools, like I did work at Central School 2 summers ago, and that's a beautiful heritage school there. But that school's like almost right at the street. It's like in full, but this building is sort of set way back, quite a distance way back from the street. So I would say the facade that has the most impact from the street is the 3-story the early 1900s facade, which is being preserved, but the 50s one is quite a distance back from the street, and it's obscured by the playground fencing and trees and things like that. So I think if you actually looked at it from the street view and we're standing there, it doesn't really have a huge impact to that facade.
Well, thank you. Anyone else have any questions before we wrap up? Hey, listen, you put the conditions up with the additional one?
So I do agree with Graham. I think that is a very good suggestion, and that will be sort of a compromise that we can come to, to soften the impact of that, the look of that ramp.
I think anything that fools the eye from that distance would really help.
And I could probably have it rendered up that way if you required sort of an additional follow-up rendering to see how that would look with that sort of treatment, if that would be helpful.
I think it would be very helpful.
Okay, that's what I'll agree to do that.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we see the three conditions: the landscape plan, tree protection plan, the standard minor changes, and completion date.
Yes.
Can we add the one about investigating the press forms and colorization?
Yeah,
Yes.
Graham, through the chair, Alyssa Golden here again. So staff can draft that wording for you. Kira, if you wouldn't mind just stop sharing the screen for a sec. Just to confirm the scope, is the subcommittee looking for that the applicant investigate those options and it come back through staff, or are you looking for further consideration by the subcommittee before that work's undertaken?
I'm comfortable if they come back with what we described to you guys and get it done. Is everyone else okay with that, or you want them to come back to us? No one's commenting. You're happy with them going just to staff, or do you want to say something? Go ahead, Andy.
I still have a bit of a problem with the massing, only because even if you change the cladding on it, you're still covering up the windows and half the door with a large piece of stuff. It does seem surprising to me that if you've got 42 feet of concrete, and I'm no expert in it, and I certainly haven't priced it, so I'm not saying anything other than that, but there's 42 feet of concrete, and now you're looking at putting an imprint on it and rendering it and staining it, or at least tinting it a different color. That seems like a tremendous amount of work and cost, opposed to just making it shorter with a railing. So I'm not sure how much these railings cost, but to me that this would be a lot more work, material, and expense than just a black railing that would lower it at least to the top of the stairs that are there. Then it would slope as a solid, and then you would have some other kind of railing above, which takes away from the massing of that ramp to the building itself.
Okay, so what I could say to Andy is, yes, we can explore that option. Okay, as a second, as a third option. Obviously, yes, I do agree with Andy that adding the imprint and the additional coloring, that will increase the cost, maybe substantially, of the concrete. So we obviously haven't explored the cost of that. So what I can do is I can get my cost consultant to do a cost comparison. And if the railings come out to be the same price as this, then I'll consider, I'll obviously have to discuss with the client, but I could maybe make that recommendation to them that we do that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, no worries, Andy.
And just
So it sounds like they're gonna be coming back to us then.
just through the chair again, so in terms of the language for the added condition, to address what Andy and everyone was saying, the idea would be that it would investigate alternatives for breaking up the massing, including options for potential metal railings as well as concrete treatments.
Yes.
And confirming, is that just going back through staff, or that those, similar to what's on the third item on our agenda today, that come back through the subcommittee?
I think we should come back with this. This sounds like now, with having multiple options, we're gonna have to take a look at it, see which looks best. Because I think with proper renderings, we'll be able to make a quick decision on it.
So if I get those to you quickly through staff, does it have to come to the next committee meeting, which is into March? Or can the staff get that to you? And then can you make a decision before, like, within a short period of time, hopefully before the end of the month? Is that possible?
Through the chair. So if the subcommittee does decide to move a motion that it comes back through them, unfortunately, it does have to go to the subcommittee. We can't circulate
Yeah.
information to them for their review outside of the meeting process. So that's where, if the subcommittee was comfortable, the condition could be worded that it come back through staff, but it depends on the I guess the comfort level of the subcommittee in terms of what they want to move.
Well, let's say at this point, if I agree to changing it to the railing system, okay, and get, cut the massing of this by half. Can you agree now as a subcommittee to have, if I agree to that, can you, because, the board will take my comments into good consideration, probably follow through on it. Would you agree then that could, if I change it to that it could come through staff?
I'm comfortable with that. Is everybody else comfortable with staff approving that if they do cut the wall in half and put metal rail on top? Andy?
Yes, I would be comfortable with that. Thank you, Richard.
Okay, that's what we'll do then. That makes perfect sense to me. I just want to make you guys happy, and I don't want to delay the process any further because we got to make sure we get this tendered out and, the construction completed, by the end of the year. Obviously, they have a disabled student coming to the school for next term, for next September. So we want to be able to accommodate that person as soon as we, feasibly possible.
Okay, so we understand the time crunch there.
Okay, so that's what I'll do. I'll and then I'll send a quick rendering through to staff, just to that you have it on file. That's what we're gonna do. And so, are you okay if so I will go with a black finish on the railing to tie in with the existing fencing, and I won't, normally I would go with stainless steel, right? Because it's more durable. Like, are you comfortable with stainless steel railings versus the powder coated paint finish? Because I would prefer the stainless steel railings if possible, that they're just more durable.
I'm fine with it. Carol, you comment?
I think it will, as I say, it will open up the views and break up the massing,
Well, especially at the door, it will really make
Yes.
a big, huge difference there.
Yes, yeah, I think I agree there. Yes.
Yeah,
So Carol, you want to say something?
fine.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so put that in your directions to me, and then I will follow through immediately on that and get you something quickly through staff.
Okay. Go
Graham,
ahead.
sorry, we're in danger of losing quorum, so just want
Yes,
to
I
try
know.
to get a vote
okay.
here.
All right.
Okay.
So to clarify, the added condition in addition to the 3 staff recommended conditions would be that the design be modified to have a metal railing and that the final design details be submitted back through to staff satisfaction.
Yes.
Yes, that's good.
So we just need to look for a first and seconder, Graham.
Okay. Carol, you're going to move it?
Yeah.
Andy seconds. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, it has passed.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. You have a wonderful evening.
We'll try your best. Thank you. Good luck with the project.
You too.
We'll hear further from Lisa. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, hopefully we can rocket through the next one before we lose quorum. This is HP 2026-03, 40 and 42 James Street South, what was once called the Sun Life Building. Exterior masonry repairs on the north elevation. That's between it and the Piggott Building, very hard to see. So removal and replacement of delaminated cracked brick masonry units with new matching units, localized mortar, repointing of areas deteriorated, and installation of new stainless steel helical tiles installed at approximately 10 millimeter spacing on both verticals to help improve the stability. So is the applicant here for this project?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. So I'd like to spend a couple minutes describing what your project is, and if anyone has any questions, we can hopefully get through them quickly.
So the current project is on the north elevation of 42 James Street South. The reason we are applying for the permit is because we have a scope of work to perform, which includes removal and replacement of existing delaminated brick and mortar joints, and also using helical ties to kind of improve the stability of the wall. The wall currently, if you have the photos, you can clearly see some delamination of the brick. It's localized areas, and the contractor will be utilizing a swing stage from the roof on just one drop to kind of make localized repairs as needed, because brick is falling off onto the lower roof sections, and that is the reason we plan to do the scope of work.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No. Seeing any questions? Kind of surprising. Oh, I guess you're going to be following the brick and masonry guidelines of the city.
Yes.
You're already described that, yeah. That's the only real concerns we have. We're glad you caught this, because that's not a very easily to see spot, and that could really affect your building badly.
Yeah. And also there will be some form of we will be matching the bricks as close as possible and tainting them to match the adjoining brick layers.
Yeah, so they don't stick out like a sore thumb.
Yes.
Okay. So if no one's got any questions, can we get the conditions up on the screen, please, Lisa or Kira? Those are standard three conditions. Masonry restoration work conform to the masonry guidelines. Minor changes to be submitted to the director of planning and the 2-year date to get it completed. I assume that'd be enough time, correct?
Yes.
Getting on this right away. Okay. So we have a mover and a seconder. I see Andy and Carol. Is there anyone opposed? Seeing none, this one passes. That was nice and quick compared to that last one. So good luck with your project. Really looking forward to it. That's a very important building in the city of Hamilton. So it's nice to see us getting some tender loving care.
Thank you. Will I be in touch with the staff after the meeting for more direction?
Staff will be. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you. Okay, so we don't need quorum now for the next part, do we, Melissa? Or do we?
Ideally, we will have quorum to formally receive it. But Sandra, if there is time sensitive and you need to pop off, it would be okay. But ideally, we'd have quorum to formally receive this.
Okay. So now we have the further consultation on the conditions. Initially approved HP 2025-039, which is 265 Mill Street South in Flamborough, known as Braeburn. So this is the window part that they're coming back to consult on us again. I see the owner is back with us, or the contractor.
Sorry, Mr. Chair. So, yeah, Craig Esposti with Wilmot Strickland. We're the architect on the project.
Yeah. So, take a couple of minutes to explain your.
Yeah, like you said, Mr. Chair. Sorry, we're just really here to review the windows. When we were here last, I believe it was October for the full file. One of the conditions was we came back to review the windows. It was because at the time we were proposing an aluminum clad window, but didn't know what product it was going to be yet. And there was some concern, understandably, about proposing an aluminum clad product, which is somewhat challenging in historic applications. So we've now had a chance to go out and source a product that we think is appropriate. So what we've proposed in this application is it's a Norclad window from Norwood Windows that we think is a suitable product for this application. for a number of reasons. They've got a history of being used in historic applications quite successfully. There's a certain, say, sensitivity to the detailing with butt joints in the frames and the putty detailing and the glazing that we think is suitable for this application. And it's also a Canadian-made product, which is a nice plus at the same time. It's also, we're obviously want to improve the windows. The existing windows were in no state to be restored or repaired. So, we're taking advantage and looking at something a little more durable, as a school application. So that's important to the client. It's a better performing product in terms of energy efficiency. They've double glazed. They've got some nice detailing with the mutton detailing, and the simulated divided lights are, they're quite, I'll say, faithful to the design of the existing in terms of configurations. They're following the same double hung configuration of the window with the same mutton patterns, whether it's 6/6 or 6/9. I'll say it's staying faithful to the existing, and we think it's an appropriate product in this application. And be happy to answer any questions if the committee has them.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? Carol's your hand up from this time or from previous?
It's up.
Andy?
Sorry. There.
There we go. Thank you. Okay, Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair. I'm very impressed with the Norwood windows. I've used them myself on a project. But just for clarity on the Norclad, the windows that I'd used were wooden windows, like solid wooden windows that are like powder coated. They guarantee, warranty for the finish, 15 years, that kind of thing. This says clad. So is this Norwood? The quality is amazing on Norwood. I will say that. For just the Norwood window, which are wooden windows, are these wooden windows with just aluminum cladding, just for maintenance purposes, but is relatively the same window, or is it a different series of Norwood, or do you know by chance?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. They're very similar. It is a wood window with an aluminum cladding on the exterior face. I don't know offhand what the warranty is. I think it is an improved warranty with the aluminum. It's a powder coated aluminum on the outside. The profiles match almost exactly to the wood windows. It really is just that upgraded exterior finish. The inside is wood. It's a painted wood, and then the grills on the inside are also painted wood. So the aluminum is just the exterior profile.
Okay. I'm very happy with the selection of Norwood because I'm well aware of them, and they got an excellent product. So I'm very happy with that, and I think that this manufacturer, as well as the style of window, would be an excellent addition to this property. So I'm happy. So thank you. That's all I have.
I still have to see it the most. Anyone else have any questions? And I know I was the guy most opposed to the other windows you had brought to us before, so I'm quite happy with these ones as well. They do have that traditional look, which would, from 30 feet away, you're not going to be able to tell they'll look clad. So I'm happy with these ones.
Great.
So we'll get the conditions up again, please, Kira.
Sorry, Graham, through the chair.
We
So
don't
in
need
this
that.
case,
We already
no
covered it.
conditions. It just need to, unless there's any specific comments to be approved, it would just be a mover and a seconder to receive.
Okay. Oh, yeah, a mover and a seconder to receive the updated. I see Andy and Sandra. Anyone opposed? No one? We're all set.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you very much for spending the time looking for the right product, because it really does make a difference.
Yeah.
The windows
I
are
agree.
the eyes of the building.
Yeah. No, it was worthwhile doing for sure.
Okay.
No,
Thank you.
excellent.
Great. Thanks.
Okay. I guess we're all done for the night.
Have a great
Couldn't
night.
find my official wording. No adjournment. There being no further business, I call this meeting to a close. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. I was really surprised how long that first part went, but
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
good night,
thanks.
everyone.